All right, everybody, welcome back to the Draft Degenerates podcast on the Degenerate Sports Network. And we're back with actual player rankings. Last week was fun, I thought, guys. Dalton, Jake, talking about our top 50 big boards from last year. But enough about last year. It's a different year. And will we do better? I certainly don't know. But I will say that so far, I'd say this class is not quite as good as last year. We didn't even think that class was that great. So I unfortunately think we're all kind of looking forward to 2027, but that's never how you should go about it. Yeah. We got to focus on the here and now, what we can get out of this class. And we're getting into the big boys today, folks. Also, Jake, I appreciate you having your numbers for our betting show up, but you might push that out. Not that's a teaser for tomorrow night, but you don't want to throw that out there when you don't have to, right?
Yeah, especially not with how these records look right now.
Hey, it could be worse. You could be me. I think I won like 10% of my college football bets this year. It was rough go of it. But no, we're doing the interior offensive line today. I will be doing offensive tackles next week, but there is some in this class that are going to be featured today because they may say tackle right now next to their position name, but they're not going to be that. Yeah, they're not going to be that at the next level, at least for the most part, I think. So most of these guys that we'll talk about today that play tackle, they might get some spot moments in the NFL, but probably going to be guards. So we'll get into that. But we will talk about the tackles next week. That'll be maybe more fun. We'll have to see. I don't really know at this point. But we're going to jump into it here in a second, guys. We'll start with our honorable mentions as usual. There's not too many that I really want to throw out. There's one name in particular that I know didn't quite make my top 10 that I do want to shout out. But other than that, we'll probably get into our top 10s pretty quickly. But Jake, actually, I want you to start here. Is there an honorable mention that you want to throw out there that you either think deserves some love real quick or that you think maybe one of us will have in our top 10s or maybe didn't watch at all?
I'll go with Sam Heck out of Kansas State.
Okay, didn't watch it.
He was 11 for me. He just finished outside. With this class, like I don't know about you guys, but I had a whole lot of like second and third round grades. So I think there's a lot of players that kind of could be shuffled around here, but he just came outside of my top 10. He has a good build for the position. He's very alert. He just has a lot of play strength. He's built very thick. He's well-rounded. He's strong. He's good with his hands, which helps with that strength. He doesn't really get his arms out of position very often and let defensive tackles take advantage of that. He's decisive. He doesn't really get panicked if defenders get pressure on him quickly. He's very sturdy, very solid. However, with that size, some of the things that knocked him out of my top 10 were he's not very fluid for his build. Like he's big and thick, but doesn't move very quickly, especially not side to side, which is a problem against more agile interior defensive linemen. He kind of struggles with counter moves. He's good at stopping like a first attack from especially in the pass game, a pass rusher. But he's kind of suspect to counters sometimes. So yeah, those things kind of knocked him down. It's not the most impressive class, but they were just a little bit too big of worries for me to get, for him to get in my top 10. But I do think just with his build, he's good with fundamentals. He's just not very fluid and struggles with counters. So I think those are some bigger issues. But I do think he does enough things well that he can be like a decent part-time lineman or backup or like role player or something like that.
All right. Yeah, I might have to throw him on my list because I didn't watch him with my initial I think it was 14 names that I ultimately watched enough of to rank here. 13, actually. So going to have to note him down for sure. Dalton, you have someone you want to throw out.
Yeah. So I actually lied to you pre-show, Shane. I don't have this guy in my top 10. He is 11 for me. I miscounted. I'm Jeremiah Wright from Auburn.
Okay. Didn't get a chance to watch him either.
So I mean, first thing that jumps off. So one of the guards for Auburn, and first thing that jumps off at you is he is huge. 6'5", 348. So big boy. And, that power shows up on tape. Very, very strong. But it's weird with him because the big knock is 6th-year senior. But he might be, and he took a while to develop. I believe was playing, I think he was playing like defense at one point at the beginning of his career and kind of got moved around. Had an ACL injury in 2021 that kind of delayed him. But and he's only been a full-time starter since 2024. So came out in 2020 and only really started to be a full-time contributor in 2024. So weird path, but I mean, he finishes and he's really stout in pass protection. And again, big as a house. Like sometimes hard to sometimes you just can't overthink it. But my header for this week, I'm not talking about my piece. This is a good example. Wright's a good example in this group of big and stiff. Just can't move very well at all. There's a
Jake
lot of
just
guys
joined the conversation. Woohoo!
But yeah, that's my honorable mention.
All right, fair enough. And another guy that I didn't get a chance to watch. I'll throw out. There's two that I want to make sure I talk about, but we'll start with this guy because I think he's interesting. I wonder. I could see a world where he gets inside the top 10 for one of you two. I don't think so though, just because he's a very particular type of player. Parker Brailsford, the center out of Alabama.
Didn't
I don't know if you watched him at all, Jake. I
didn't get to.
Let me put it this way. He is your classic undersized, but like I'm talking like Jason Kelsey undersized center, right? Not saying he's Jason Kelsey, but that type of undersized where he's 6'2", 290, like very much that smaller but very athletic center that is going to have to thrive in the zone scheme. He certainly doesn't have a ton of play strength. I think it's better than maybe you would think considering his size, but it's certainly not above average by any means. It's probably below average for a center even. Struggles to move people in the run game, but is really good at climbing to the second level, blocking well on the move. He literally just imagine like a 6'2", 290-pound center. What that dude looks and plays like. That's what Parker like. There's no surprises with him, right? He plays exactly like you'd expect him to play. And I think there's definitely a home for him in the NFL as a backup, especially in certain schemes. But he's somebody that at least interested me because I think he does have a role for a team, at least even the back end. He was 13 for me.
Yeah, see, like that size is mentioned as a knock here, but according to Chip Kelly, that's the ideal size for an NFL center. They're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be 6'4", 320 pounds. No, that's bad.
Yeah, that's not good. It's not good.
According to Chip Kelly.
Yeah, and we all know he is really good and also employed by the NFL. That certainly didn't.
Definitely never had a bad offense.
Yeah, it's always goes back to the Raiders.
That's an interesting. I kind of like a smaller center.
I do too.
I do like a smaller center just because I like the ability to move a little bit more. But, I also think you can play the position without being undersized.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, again, like because of his play style, he's only going to work for certain teams. I think there's some other guys that fit that mold but are less limited as players, especially when it comes to just the pure size of it all. It's just tough when you're 290. And I don't even really, honestly, you watch him, he might not be 290. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He might be. Now, granted, this is a comp that if he were to hit this, he'd be phenomenal. But he's kind of closer to like Tennessee Titans sized Aaron Brewer, where he was like, 6'1", 6'2", 270 something probably at times there. Kind of looks more like that. Now, we'll see when he goes to the combine because I imagine he'll get invited because I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt junior. So if he's declaring, he must be getting enough interest, I'd imagine, to come out. I'm pretty sure he did declare. So it's just, he's an interesting guy for sure. The other center that's in this range for me that you guys might have both watched and also might have maybe have in your top 10 at the back end, Pat Coogan, Indiana center. He's 12 for me.
He actually, like I was saying pre-show, this is the guy I forgot to watch. I was like, I was gonna watch him today, and I'll be honest, just didn't get to him today. But from what I watched last night, because I did try to pay attention to some offensive linemen last night. Oh. Am I here?
I think we all died for a second there.
Oh, are we back?
I am, at least.
So it wasn't just me. We all died.
I think we somehow all died at the same time. Well, the stream is still going, so that's a good sign.
Cool.
Apologize for anyone who may be watching and just getting caught that happening. I hope that Jake is returning shortly. But you can start off where you left off.
Yeah. So
welcome back, Jake.
Jake,
we all
welcome
died
back.
at the same time, so I think we're good now, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, Krugen, I tried to watch a little bit last night. Even though I didn't quite get to actually watch the film of him. I tried to watch him a little bit. And yeah, it's just hard to get a read on him, especially for somebody like him who might be a pure center.
I think he is.
Yeah, and in this, I think if I watched him more, he'd probably be towards the back end of my top 10. It's also a weird build for a center, 6'5", 310.
Yeah.
I just don't know how he's gonna maintain his pad level at that height, and I'm worried he's gonna get and 310's also skinny for 6'5", and I just worry about him getting a little out leveraged. That's probably my biggest concern with him.
Yeah, I can talk about him for a second, but did you watch him at all, Jake?
Could you re-say the name? I think I got kicked out before.
Pat Coogan, Indiana center.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to watch.
Okay, so here's the kind of the end all be all with him is he is a weird body type for a center, and he's all kind of technique and physicality. There's not a lot of tools there. He's a pretty limited athlete overall. I think he's gonna play in the NFL. I think for a long time because of how technically sound he is, and I do think he does have enough play strength at that weird build to hold up in pass protection, especially as kind of a guy that can handle bull rushes a little bit better than some of the smaller centers, but doesn't move as well as some of them, so he's not as good at getting on the move, getting up to the second level, at least in terms of getting there quickly. At the NFL level, he's probably going to have a hard time doing some of the things he did for Indiana so well. But I do think he's at least worth throwing out there as a day 3 pick that you can bring in and maybe can push a center. Maybe you don't love your center, but you also don't want to invest heavily in the position. I know a lot of teams don't. He could be a guy that just kind of through sheer determination, frankly, and technique could maybe get into the lineup and play pretty well.
Yeah.
So that was really the main guys that I wanted to throw out there as honorable mentions before we get into it. So unless there's other guys you want to throw out, we can get into our top 10s here.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. I'll kick us off actually because I this guy slipped in at the very end. I didn't feel super good about it, but this class is it's just kind of there's a lot of early day 3, late day 2, and then kind of a couple guys that I think are above that level, just a couple. So that it kind of all fell in line here, but it's another center actually. Logan Jones out of Iowa is a 10 for me. I don't know if you guys watched him or have him ranked, but
yeah, he's 4 for me.
Okay, so I like him a lot. I do just wonder if he's a little bit more limited of an athlete than the other centers that are similar sizes to him. That's kind of what kind of knocked him down a peg compared to the other 2 that are in my top 10. Is just that kind of element of it. I felt like overall he's going to play in the NFL for a very long time. I feel like a lot of these guys in this range, I think, are guys that even if they're never Pro Bowlers or guys like that, but I think they're going to be long-term starters. Pretty much everyone that's in my top 10 at some point, I would argue, whether that's, immediately if you get drafted the right spot or someone who's going to get developed and then brought in. He certainly fits that mold for me. He's undersized like pretty much every center in this class is for the most part, except for Pat Coogan. He's still athletic, I think, overall. I don't think he's quite as athletic as, again, the guys that we'll talk about later. Lacks a little bit of play strength for me overall, but his technique, I think, is better than the other guys. I think he kind of offsets some of that with his technique. More developed than I'd say, especially my top center, who I think is more of a developmental guy, but I'd take a shot on him because I think he has more room to grow than a guy like Logan Jones. Solid run blocker on double teams, especially. I think he does a really good job of kind of setting up angles for double teams. Can move people when he gets ahead of steam, despite the smaller frame. I do think he needs to be on the move, though, to kind of drive people out for the most part. He'll be a fringe starter to start, I think. I think there's certain teams that he might be able to sneak into the starting lineup quickly. But I think over time he'll end up becoming a decent starter in the league.
So it's interesting. My notes were kind of a little different on him.
I'm curious if
one of my notes was exceptional athlete.
I didn't watch him against Indiana, and then I forget the other team I watched him against, and he didn't pop to me as an athlete.
I watched him. So the tape I had was the Wisconsin game, and the way he climbed, and maybe he just looked like that because Wisconsin's
man killing me with that.
Or Shane catching a stray.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
No. Hey, listen, fair. Unfortunately,
but. No, the way he climbs to the second level, I thought was really, really impressive.
Yeah, he is very good at getting to a spot. Yeah,
he is I believe converted. Was he a converted defensive lineman?
I think you're right. I do believe he was.
He was a defensive end.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I saw a projected 40 time for him is I know for offensive lineman 40 time doesn't really matter, but the projected 40 time on him is 4.9, which is kind of nuts.
I don't know if I'm quite. I mean, I think he's gonna run maybe within a couple ticks of that for sure. I don't know if I saw necessarily 4.9. Not that it matters that much ultimately. There's a lot of times where I feel like he kind of had trouble. Not getting to the second level because he's very good at getting to the second level, but I think staying in front of guys and the overall athletic movement ability didn't pop to me as much as some of the other guys we'll talk about. But again, we're talking about in terms of grades, he is in the same tier as 3 or 4 other guys ahead of him, essentially close to it. Because this is where you get a bunch of jumbled grades together for me.
Yeah, what round grade did you have for him?
I had 4th round grade, early day 3.
I'm late second.
Yeah, so early day 3. And I think that if you were to look at the guys who I have closer to where you have him at 4, it's early 3rd, late 2nd is the difference. It's a round grade roughly. You know what I mean? So I think it's more that I had the other centers maybe higher than you, and you might have those centers lower. It's probably how that's going to work out ultimately. But I can understand why you'd have him higher because if you believe he's a better athlete,
yeah, I have him as my number 1 center mostly because I feel like the ceiling's really high on him because he's only been playing the position for 3 years.
That's true.
And I love the nastiness that he plays with.
That's what you get playing in Iowa.
Yeah, and also his help in pass protection is really awesome. Mm-hmm. His stab. When he's just helping out like that, he's really, really effective at just starching dudes with that. And it really does help. If he doesn't have somebody head up over him, he's going to really make life easy for his guards, I think, which I think is important. Now, I do wonder how he's going to hold up against some bull rushes at times. Yeah. That's going to be the kind of thing. But, but I think he's good enough. It's the other things that it does kind of make opposing pass rushes a little more one-dimensional that way. Yeah. If, that you're going to have to rush at him.
Yeah, I do think that's one of the things I think if he can, and this is one of the reasons why, and I'll talk about him a little bit later, why I have who I have at center 1 is I think that he is pretty good at a lot of the same things Logan Jones is good at, but I think he's better at kind of, despite being a smaller player as well, losing slowly. There is an element and kind of an art to that, especially against a bull rush as a center, is can you lose slowly enough for your quarterback to see it coming and adjust to that? And that's kind of something that I think a lot of people miss with a guy like Zach Frazier, actually, for the Steelers, is some people are like, oh, he's having trouble with bull rush sometimes. It's like, yeah, but if you notice, he's not losing nearly fast enough for it to matter most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think there is, again, it's kind of a skill at center in particular above other positions where it's not as much of a benefit at guard. But at center, that's the best you could hope for a lot of these guys, because there's not many guys are 6'4", 6'5", 320 like a certain center or maybe center for the Raiders, bringing it back to the Raiders. So yeah, I think that's certainly something. If he can add that to his game, maybe he could really take it to the next level. So
I'm curious who your center 1 is, because if it's the same as my center 2, they have the same. I have my center 2 and Jones are like right next to each other and have the same grades.
We'll see. I have 2 that are next to each other ahead of Jones, so like they're very similar too. So like we'll get there. But Jake, did you have him in your top 10, or are you even lower than me?
No, I'm in the middle of you guys. I'm closer to Shane though. I had him at 9.
Okay, so he is in your top 10.
But kind of like my whole like 5 through 10 could kind of be shuffled anyway.
That's kind of the issue. Like we're gonna have that happen.
So
we're gonna have that happen. Be like, you have it 7, I have it 4. What's wrong with you? It's like, no, it's kind of the same thing.
I'm a little between you guys in terms of his athleticism too. Like I don't think he's especially athletic, but I think he's really quick in short spaces.
Yeah.
Which as an interior lineman, it makes you look a lot faster. But
the burst.
But he closes space like super quickly. Mm-hmm. He has great bursts getting to the second level. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. But yeah, I'm kind of he's in that mix of guys that could be shuffled around a bit for me.
All right, cool. Dalton, who do you have at 10 then?
So my 10 is Armaj Reed Adams from Texas A&M.
I'm glad you have him in, because he's 11 for me.
Cool.
I'm glad you have him in here. I wanted to talk about him, but I didn't want to throw him out there in case you guys had. Do you have him in there, Jake?
He's 12 for me, so he would have been an
literally 10, 11, 12. That's hey, sometimes the plan comes together.
And I think had I watched a few more guys, he probably would have been in that range for me.
Yeah.
I have a 5th round grade on him.
He's like 4th, 5th, right around there. Yeah.
I love the size, 6'5", 325. Mm-hmm. And I love the ability to play a variety of spots on the offensive line.
Yep.
Decent athlete for his size, but I mean the big thing is the power he plays with and the low pad level he plays with, especially. Like he's a guy that if you're in like a power run scheme, you just tell him like just go forward and blow somebody up. That's pretty much all he's gonna give you. But he is surprisingly agile for his size. But, I mean, the problem is in pass protection, he's late to punch. His anchor's not great. And he's grabby. That's kind of the issue. And also...
this
is going to come up a lot.
With his hands.
Yeah. Also, this is going to come up a lot. 6th year senior.
Yeah.
Like... Dude, like, what are you doing? He transferred to A&M 2 years ago. I think he had a solid 2024.
Pretty sure did, yeah.
And it's like
go to the league, son.
To any Division I college football players looking good in the NFL watching this.
Which we know there's at least 50 of them. But
if we have to short this and just get this out.
Probably a whole class.
But hear this. If you have a solid couple of years and then you transfer at a small school and then transfer to a Power 4 school and have a really good senior or 5th year, go to the league. Just go. There is nothing you are going to gain. There's one guy so far that I've graded this year as a 6th year senior that I think probably improved his draft stock from last year to this year. Only one out of like 100. That's probably gonna like legitimately like it just doesn't happen. There's all you're gonna be, all your tape is a year older. Your tape isn't gonna be that much better. That's gonna outweigh that. And at that point, when you're that old, we know who you are, and all you are is a grown man playing against children. Like, stop it. I mean, like, these guys are 24, 25. There's The tape is useless at that point.
I don't disagree at all, but it's just funny hearing it. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, yeah, you look great, but you're playing against a guy that was probably in 7th grade when you were getting recruited.
Yeah, therein lies the issue.
When you put it that way.
Like it's silly.
Yeah. So the bottom line for him on me is very similar to you, Dalton. He's pretty much a worse version of a player that is going to be coming up next for me. That's kind of the difference, kind of why I have him at 11, why I have the player I have ahead of him. We'll talk about in a minute. But he's a power player. I think if you run a true power run scheme, which there's less and less of those every year, it feels like, because there's obviously just having Shanahan's scheme just completely fly all over the NFL constantly, and a lot of the guys who are doing it are still kind of behind the train a little bit, where like the McVays of the world and guys like that have started to lean into power more than the outside zone, but then the guys who are kind of coming off that tree are still relying on it. Like it's gonna depend on where he goes, but I do think he can do that for you. The pass protection, I just feel like the way that we have so many of these explosive, smaller interior rushers now, just there's a lot of those guys that are just going to give him fits. Like I just don't, if he's going to be a starter for you, it just, there's going to be a lot of matchups where you might need to help him a lot, and it's just, it might be tough.
Like like a breaking fist.
Yeah. If Kalijah Clancy ever played, guys like that too. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was a few things for him that kept him out of my top 10. The hand placement I did think got better, but it's still
good. It's 6th year.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he's very grabby. He grabs. I noticed a lot on film, like when he misses with his hands, he misses like outside on the shoulders, which I do worry about drawing penalties.
Not where you want to miss.
Yeah, he does not miss in good spots. And kind of to that same vein, he doesn't really redirect well when a defender like does a counter move on him. He struggles there. He doesn't getting to the second level. Like he can do it, and he has a lot of power when doing so, but his footwork was a little all over the place to me. And then also just conditioning. And I know that this is something that can improve, so it's not a huge worry. But I did notice in like hurry up situations, he definitely looked like he was struggling.
The game I watched, I'm pretty sure they were subbing him out here and there.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wait a minute.
He struggles in like no huddle.
They like moved the center over the guard, I think, a couple times, and brought in 61, I think it was.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, why is 54 playing guard?
Something. Yeah, I noticed it too. I'm like, I don't know.
What are we doing here?
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, now that was like the Notre Dame game that I watched. So that might have been earlier in the year. Maybe they were just trying to figure out their best 5. But
you think if he came back for 6 years, he's solidified as a starter, you'd hope.
You'd think
that's 6 years of summer workouts. Like,
you better be the best dude out there.
He does do some things well. Like when his hands land, he's very, very strong. He's pretty versatile in position alignment, but again, with the lack of conditioning, we'll see how that goes at the NFL level. And I honestly thought his pass protection got better this year in general, but there's just too many red flags for me to have him.
There's just also limitations on a player like this, and at this point, like we've seen him play enough, he's probably not going to get better at it. Yeah, that's one of those things. Again, you talked about it, Dalton. That's like part of the problem with doing what he did is like, if we know you at this point, man. But no, Jake, who's your 10
then? My number 10 is Jake Slaughter.
Okay, so he is, for me, is 7. So let me throw.
Okay. I know I'm a little lower on him than I've seen a lot of people.
But no, I like him a decent amount. But yeah, he was 7 for me. He was center 2 for me. So
okay.
Would you have him in your top 10?
I did not get to him. He was like one of the last couple. Like
that might be
my next couple.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why the centers are different for us a little bit. But yeah, so you have him at 10, Jake. You start with that.
Yeah, I like him because I think he has a pretty well-rounded skill set. he's smaller, as are a lot of centers in this class, but with that, he moves pretty well. He closes space quickly. Um, but aside from having like a smaller frame, I think he does have a good anchor. Shane, you were talking about this earlier with
Mhm.
Logan Jones, I think, but he kind of dies slowly.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
Which
my
is
top
something that I like.
centers, that he dies slow. I think
Yeah.
Slaughter is very similar in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, he does struggle, like just because of his size. When he's 1-on-1 against like a big, bulky, like defensive tackle, he
Yeah,
he just struggles there because there's not much you can do. But he doesn't like get blown up and immediately just give up a lane to the quarterback. Like
No.
he does a good job to still stick in front and at least give the QB a chance. So that was something that I like. And if he can get stronger at the next level, then that can become less of an issue in general. He's very spatially aware in pass protection. Like he never really finds himself out of position. He does a good job. If there's nobody over in front of him, he knows, like, he has good awareness to go right or left to help out his guards. He very routinely keeps the A gaps clean. So
Yeah.
And pass protection. So that was something I like about him. I did note he's a 2-time team captain. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but I
mean,
do like
it's center.
like
that kind of
yeah,
that can matter.
I do.
But,
yeah, I like guys like that. So that was something else I noted. And he's pretty, not super athletic, but he's good enough to get out there in the screen game, and he can be a real difference maker there because of being a little bit smaller size. He's able to move a little better. Yeah, some of the size concerns just had him a little bit lower. I worry about bigger and more talented interior D linemen in the NFL. Maybe he won't be able to die as slowly, but I think if he can get stronger, that won't be as much of a concern. So, yeah, he came in at 10 for me.
Yeah, he was 7 for me. I think that he's a tick above Jones, and I think there's a reason for this. You kind of talked about Bellin. He's more technically sound than him, I think, by a decent margin. And I think that's because of the fact that Jones hasn't played the position as long as I'm sure Slaughter has at this point in his career. I think the athleticism, he's probably not quite the athlete that Jones is, and that's probably why ultimately, like, you had Jones higher, then you'll probably have him even if you do get to Slaughter, if I had to guess. But for me, he just feels like a guy that could come in and probably play from day one if you needed him to at center. And I think that's valuable in a class where I don't know how many of those guys are here, frankly, especially kind of in this 5 to 10 range where it's like these are fringe starters for the most part / like guys who you probably want to develop for a year before you get them out there. Yeah. I think Slaughter could come in and probably compete for a starting job for especially a team that's not 100% settled on their center position, which not a lot of teams are. This is not very bountiful position. Let me put it that way. Chargers are still playing Bradley Bozeman this year. That's all you have to know about that. So that he would certainly start for them, but other teams could probably bring him in too. But no, I think he's a solid overall player. I kind of agree with Jake for the most part on him. I just had him a little bit higher just based on kind of positional value. I think is also good here because there is just less of those guys. I think he kind of knocked him above a couple of the guards that have right behind him. So
yeah.
All right. So it's all of our 10s. Let's go to 9. I know, Jake, your 9, I think, has already been said, which was Jones. If I'm not mistaken. So you're taking care of Dalton. Who do you have in 9?
My 9 was Cage Casey from Boise State.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to watch him. He was one of the guys
I didn't either.
Outside my rankings, or my list. So tell us about Cage Casey.
Really good mass, probably the first thing that jumps out. 6'5", 310. Nice. And good footwork, hand placement's excellent. Redirects really well, seals well in the run game. He's just a guy that this is a guy where if you're playing a zone scheme, guy you want, because he's just gonna create gaps. The issue is he's been kind of playing tackle, and he's probably not gonna have
the issue is he's kind of playing tackle.
Yeah.
Is pretty awesome and also indicative of this class. So
yeah, he's probably not gonna have the length for tackle, so he's gonna need to move inside. Tends to lean too far out over his feet. It's kind of one of the biggest technique flaws I saw. And at the end of the day, he is an average athlete, which is kind of why I have a 5th round grade on him. His anchor needs to be a lot better in pass protection, which at 6'5", 310, it's kind of part of the issue. A little light in the pants.
For that build.
Yeah. But and like the way he's built, yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Just doesn't have enough lower body power. I'd like to see him probably put on a little bit of good weight, keep from getting knocked back by bull rushers. And then my other big concern with him is that his hands in pass protection are very much like a tackle, where he kind of plays. Yeah, he plays the patty cake game a lot. And
throws his hands out there, tries.
And and he's kind of the punches just aren't very hard, and they're not coming fast enough. So guys are getting into him a little bit. So that's what's gonna make the transition into guard kind of weird. But his run blocking technique is so good that like I think a team's gonna give him a shot at guard.
Right.
But if you put like a 300-pound explosive D tackle in front of him, he's going to have a lot of issues.
That's kind of the thing. And there's a player that's going to be coming up in the rankings soon for me that like I have my reservations about his move to guard, but I think it's just necessary. But I do think he can fit in a certain situation, and I'll talk about it then. But I think it's similar to what you have talking about, where he's just not built very powerfully, right? That's kind of what you're getting at with him. And because of that, moving inside, you won't have to worry as much about length and speed and all that stuff, but you do have to worry about power. And if you don't have a lot of it, your technique obviously matters a lot. But if you're just not strong enough to deal with some of these guys, you kind of can't do anything about that sometimes.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I kind of agree. He's a lot better than KC, I think. From a technique standpoint,
which is why he's in my top 10.
Yeah,
but it's
higher for me too. Yeah,
so, it's going to be interesting. I think we're talking about the same people.
About the same guy. I'm very interested.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so if neither of us had him, Jake, I think then that would mean that I am up here with my number 9 guy, and I'm curious if you guys have him in your top 10. He might just be outside, similar to we had with Reed Adams, Jaden Roberts, guard out of Alabama. I'm not sure if you guys watched him.
No.
Did you watch?
I didn't.
He's fun. He's just limited a little bit, which is kind of the thing, right? Very similar profile to Adams. He is a ultra powerful, like in a phone booth player, not dissimilar to I wish I knew his name off the top of my head right now, but the guard that was drafted out of Alabama last year by the Cowboys at pick 12.
Tyler Booker.
There it is, Booker. I knew it was Tyler, couldn't remember last name, Booker. Very similar in terms of like the phone booth mentality, just not nearly overall as good as Booker was, but a very similar profile. Very rock solid pass protector in a phone booth. Very much a guy that if you try to run through him, that's certainly just not going to work. You are going to have to work your way around him. Bigger player, 6'5", 327, I think is what he's listed at. Yeah, so similar size to Reed Adams, what we talked about earlier. I think he's just a better version of him, where he has even more power to him. I think that he has better pass protection because he's so strong, and if he gets his hands on you, he kind of just ends the rep a lot of the time. But from what I saw, these very explosive and in short bursts, but not really able to get out and run or to really cut off angles as pass protector, so he does have to kind of be aggressive about it, which can lead to some bad misses. That's kind of the thing you're gonna have to deal with him if you're gonna make him a starter. But he is very much that power player in a sea of zone heavy kind of guys that we have in this range. At least I have in this range. So he kind of stood out to me, and I wonder if maybe I'll start to push him up a little bit just because of that kind of. But I do think he's a certain type of fit for certain types of teams. So.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to watch him.
Yeah, he's interesting.
I'll probably get to the Alabama guys when getting ready for next week when I go to watch Proctor anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Which I was watching Brailsford because I was familiar with him, and then I was like, oh, who's the guard here? And that's how you get there. So that's kind of how it happens. Let's move on to number 8. Dalton, why don't you just kick us off again with this one?
So my number 8, very curious where you have this guy. Okay. Lower than I thought is going to be. I have Emmanuel Pregnon here.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I have him 4.
I have him. Let me double check because I'm pretty sure I have him at 3.
Okay.
I feel like I know why you have him where you have him, Dalton. So I'm not that surprised. Yeah.
Sixth year. Just
Yeah.
misleading sixth year too.
Yeah.
Like they've really tried to hide that shit and pretend like he hasn't been in college forever. It's like, like again, this is an example. Like, dude, you had 2 solid years at USC. Why were you at Oregon this year?
Trying to get that natty,
no
bro.
reason for that.
Trying to get that didn't work out. Trying to get that natty. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll touch on him a little bit and then let you guys get to him since I know you're higher. I mean, you know, I like the frame. He does have that nasty mentality.
Yes. Yeah.
Hand placement's good football IQ, got a lot of functional strength, anchors really well in pass protection. I think the floor on him is very, very high. And I do have a 3rd round grade on him, but again, my issues are, one, I just don't know if the ceiling's any higher because he's a full-grown adult, and I think he's at his physical peak
beating
right
children
now
up for his job.
Yeah. And also one of the things I noticed is there's like 0 lateral quickness. I mean,
he's very much he's a phone booth player for sure.
Yeah,
it is almost non-existent, and like once he's beaten, there's no recovery. And another issue is I feel like 1, he's a pure guard, and 2, he's limited to scheme because as like he's gonna be useless as a pulling guard. Like that's kind of part of the issue for me. I think he's probably gonna be just a pure mauler in the run game, and you know, you hope that he at least takes a minute to get around for guys to get around him in the pass game. But I'm curious what you guys think.
All right, why don't you go next, Jake? Because you have him 4 and I have him 3. So
I get some of those concerns. Definitely big concerns for me about his athleticism. He's not good with guys like coming in front of him or across his face. Just not. Okay, I was trying to.
You sound like Fernando Mendoza last night, where he's like, you take front and back shots. I don't know. Anyway.
I was trying to think of a way to make it sound like not.
Jake's like,
not like
how do I not make this sound like every football term ever?
That. Oh man.
Yeah. So he's not good there. And then he plays very physical and nasty, but that kind of works against him sometimes. If he misses with his hands, he's gonna get beat because he's just very aggressive there. With that said, the reason I have him higher is because I saw, kind of as you said, Dalton, he has a high floor, and this is a class that I don't like see a ton of upside in, so that got him up the list higher for me. His arms are good length. He's got great grip strength, and you know when he doesn't miss with his hands, they're very, very powerful. He's good in the run game. I mean, there's so many times on film where he just like lifts up defenders. He's good in pass protection when he's not like on an island against a quicker pass rusher, but for the most part, he can hold his own there from what I saw. I mean, he's got a good anchor. He has enough awareness to pass off and pick up defensive linemen as they come to or away from him, and then he just plays nasty and physical, which is another thing I like. So I think, you know, I don't see a ton of upside for him, but I think those things give him a high enough floor that it was just better than a lot of the class for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think ultimately I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm like, there's an element of knowing what you're getting with him that I think is hard to pass up in a class where I just don't know if I love a lot of the guys below him enough to say that their upside, you know, supplants what he's already able to be. And ultimately, I think I have him even a little bit higher, Jake, because I think that he could be the focal point of your run game if you want to play that type of run. Like if you want to be a power run, physical football team, he can be the guy on your offensive line that sets the tone for that. And I think there's a lot of teams that are going to value that. I think that's why he ultimately lands as high as he's probably going to land for a lot of people. because of that element of it. And I do think the pass protection is like, again, it's very much, when he's able to help out or he has someone coming right directly at him, he's able to handle that because he is a very powerful player. He can stand up to bull rushes, certainly. If he's getting a quicker player on him, you're going to have to help him out. You're going to have to scheme around that a little bit. But that's kind of the case for a lot of guards. But there's not a ton of guards in the NFL, I think, at this point, or not as many as people would like, who can just be the ass kicker of all ass kickers in the run game. And I think he has at least that potential to be that, right? So he lands at 3. There's not a big gap between the guys right below him for me. There's a clear gap for the top 2 for me, for sure, ahead of him. So he's kind of that bridge between the very top of the class and the class where I think there's questions about the other guys that I think are big enough to warrant being in a separate tier.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. See, for me, like there's a big gap from my 9 because he's 8 for me with a 3rd round grade. My 9 was Casey with a 5th round grade.
Right. So
I think I was expecting him to be like my 2 or 3, and then I just kept finding guys that I like.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So
the potential of some of the guys below him on my list, I will say definitely is higher. I just, it sometimes at lineman, man, like I see so many offensive lines who just are so dog shit that I'm like, maybe just give me a guy that I'm pretty sure is good. Like sometimes, and that's like not always the best way to do it, but honestly, more and more, I feel like sometimes you just got to draft the guys who are kind of kicking ass and just doing the thing already, just because it just makes you. I think you sleep better at night, frankly. Like that's kind of how it is. Fair. But no, I get why you'd have him a little bit lower. So that's your number 8. Jake, who do you have number 8?
I have Jennings Dunker out of.
Okay. I was wondering when we would hear his name for the first time. So it's kind of what I thought, and I have him at 5 personally. Kind of an upside play, the tackle, the guard combo. Where do you have him, Dalton?
He's 2 for me.
Okay. You know what? Nice. And I had a feeling you might be the high man on him. So I'm glad that I was right about that.
Yeah.
But
I know he played a lot of right tackle, but I think we can all agree
that's a guard if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
That dude's a guard.
Yeah, he is a very rigid mover. He's not going to change directions quickly at all. His foot quickness also slow. Just kind of makes it easier for rushers to get around his edge. And then he's very aggressive with his hands, which I think hurts him sometimes. He can find himself overextended. Yeah. So all of those things are why I think he'll move to guard. And there's still things that I worry about with him at guard. Like they need to be fixed, but at guard, I'm a bit less worried about that for sure. At guard, I think his upside is a lot higher. He's very thick.
Nice.
Just plays tough. He plays physical with his size. He's another guy that I just saw lifting up defenders a lot on film, which I always love to see from linemen. He's just very strong upper body. He's got a strong lower body. Just a sturdy player. And some of the hits he makes have real power behind him. There's a couple of times I really saw him like jar people away from him. And then while he's not quick laterally, he does a good job of finding his anchor. And a lot of this was at tackle, so it'll be different with him if he plays guard.
Right.
But he is able to get to a spot that he needs to in pass protection, but he can't really adapt too much off of that in terms of mobility. But again, at guard, it won't be as big of an issue. So he's another guy where pretty much everyone in this like 5 to 10 range has like a 3rd round grade for me, or 3rd to maybe 4th. So I could see him shuffling around the list a bit, but he came in at 8 for me.
Yeah, he's like a back end of the 2nd, early 3rd round grade for me. So
he's 2nd round for me, so we're not that far apart.
Yeah, but I'll go here next just because I know you have him highest, Dalton. I echo a lot of the same things. I think though, as a guard, I think he's going to end up kind of being like a solid testing athlete. If you compare him to guards, I think it's going to be, as a tackle, he would be discernibly a bad tackle athlete, I think, but a solid guard athlete. it's kind of the same. Like, honestly, you could make an argument that I should have him ahead of Pregnon just because a lot of the same things can be said. I just haven't seen him play guard is kind of part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
Where like I can project him as a guard and say like he's going to offer a lot of the same things, but better as a pass protector probably overall, and that could move him to like a 2 spot like Dalton has him. But I just want to see that before I'm ready to go there. But he has all the physical tools to be a ridiculous run blocking guard, especially, and a good enough pass protecting guard where I think he can be one of the few kind of mostly balanced players in this class. I think there's a lot of guys who are very strong in one area, but maybe not strong in others. And it's kind of hard to put the full picture together. He's one of the ones who has the potential, at least, I think, and that's why he ends up at 5 for me ahead of some other guys, to be one of those balanced players that doesn't have a huge deficiency somewhere in their game. Be it his demeanor. I mean, he's an Iowa offensive lineman, man. Like that. Like if you want to know what an Iowa offensive lineman looks like, plays like, acts like, it's him. Like you can get a really good. You just everyone that's gone through that program, it seemingly feels like they end up having that type of thing going on. So that's going to be very endearing to NFL teams. Obviously, there's a limit to that, but I think he plays within that limit just fine. I don't think he's an asshole in the sense that like he's doing bad shit out there to people. He's just really tough and physical. He's a quote like a prototypical like tackle to guard, seemingly super easy convert that you play him day one and you're happy with him. So no problem having him at 2. Honestly, Dalton, I get it.
Yeah. But any team that if they like tries to like waste time with him at the tackle,
it's a waste of time.
They should.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, people need to be fired if he's playing on the NFL.
I mean, maybe it's a Joe Tooney thing where it's like we need someone to do it, but Tooney is actually good enough athlete to do it. But like other than that, like he should be a guard on the depth chart. Like
and like one of the things you guys mentioned, like the speed. So from what I saw is I think the foot speed. Like the actual like play speed is actually pretty solid. Like I think he's actually.
I think it's good for. I think it'll be fine for a guard guy. For sure.
Yeah. Where I think he got beat, and this is why he shouldn't be playing tackle, is got beat off the snap a lot, and also because of his like thick frame, he just didn't have much of a kick step, so he just constantly lost the edge.
I think the length is also going to be a question for him a little bit too, which won't matter as much inside. So.
Exactly. I think he's going to thrive inside because he is just an absolute mauler and like a true road grader in the run game. Like he is like the tape. He is just constantly just paving the way in the run.
Collapsing defensive lines from the tackle spot. Yeah, he's just caving to stuff in.
Yeah, I just think inside he's going to be a freak. The only thing is, I think the biggest thing that I'm just curious how he translates inside with is his balance.
Yeah, he gets over his skis a lot.
Yeah. And again, maybe it'll be a little bit easier inside because he'll just be able to bounce off of body the entire time.
He might not have the amount of time and like the lead up to get over his skis and kind of lose his balance because he's already going to be impacting someone so fast. So it could actually help him there a little bit.
Yeah. The other and like I think the experience at tackle is nice. Like I think that is like still a plus because like I think like you said, like in an emergency we can just stick him out here if like say I don't know, we're an AFC West team and both of our starting tackles went down by week 4 and our playoff chances just got absolutely obliterated and our top 5 quarterback just dies every week. He would be a nice guy to have. Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Instead of whoever that Austin Deculus, maybe is that who it was? One of them. I don't know. Insert name here.
And they trade for Trevor Penning.
Yeah, and then didn't play him because he's that bad. I'm pretty sure. Like I don't think he played much. So
And like Mekhi Becton, who you brought in, is still so bad that he can't even move back out to tackle.
Yeah. Chargers fans are in hell, and they always will be.
Wait, what fans?
Well,
all 9 of them.
The ones who were still hanging out in San Diego.
I think there's just so much to like. Like to me, like that's just. I just really love the upside, especially like 6'5", 315. Like good size guard.
You could toss on some more pounds if you want now because you're not going to be playing tackle. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I think the potential on him, I think like he legitimately has the potential to be the best interior offensive lineman in this class.
Yeah, potential I think is certainly there.
Yeah.
So for me though, I'll finish off number 8 here. Brian Parker, the second out of Duke, is number 8 for me. Where'd you guys have him?
He was 6 for me. Is this
okay?
When we were talking about?
Yep.
He was 7 for me, so we were all
okay. So 6, 7, 8. Anyway. No, there. God damn it! I knew Dalton was gonna do it. Anyway, he's an interesting guy. He is firmly into that. Like, has to play guard because certainly just doesn't have the length to play tackle. But unfortunately he plays like a tackle though. So it's like, I don't know for sure. Like he's gonna fit best in obviously a zone heavy scheme that gets him out, can actually climb the second level, do all that good stuff because he's a great athlete. But the pass protection at guard, I do worry about the anchor and the ability to hold up against bigger players. He's going to be a weird one because some of these tackle converts, you love to be like, hey, this guy's a good tackle. He's an athlete. He's all this good stuff. But sometimes those guys are like 305 pounds and they just don't really work at guard. And I don't want to label him that because I think he could fit and he's the skill set to be like a guy that can handle that and be a really good, especially zone run blocker. But I'm curious. Like, I don't remember if he's at the Senior Bowl. I'd have to double check that. But he's a guy I'm very curious to watch play guard in some sort of all-star environment. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in. So that's kind of the thing for me. I'm putting him at 8 because I like the upside potentially. But unfortunately he fits the mold of one of those guys that might just not be able to do it.
Yeah. I have him at 7, so I kind of feel the same way. His build is just kind of like weird a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
he's just the build is
literally
yeah, he's just a weird guy.
Yeah,
he's 300.
Yeah. It's a strange build. His arms aren't like especially long, so it's kind of harder for him to set the edge. And he's just not like especially strong. You know, like I have worries about his anchor as well.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I also noted that he dipped his head a lot before contact. Mm-hmm. Like that's something you can't do against NFL edge rushers. They're going to take advantage of that. So for those reasons, you know, I have him. I think he'll be better at guard, but I do think the ceiling is there. He's very quick. He's got good burst. You know, going to the second level, he's agile enough. And one thing I did like, I have worries about his anchor, but I think his hand placement is really good, and he's just strong with his hands. So I think he'll be able to like relatch himself onto blocks better. So that kind of calms the worries of just his strength a little bit for me because he's agile enough and quick enough with his hands to make up for it at times. So it's not as much of a concern for me. He plays aggressive despite the size. He's plays physical. He never, takes snaps off, and kind of as Shane said, I think he'd be really good as like a zone run blocker. So I think those things give him a higher ceiling than some of the guys below him. So he came in at 7 for me, but I don't know. There are some worries.
Yeah. I'm with you guys on a lot of that. Yeah. I mean, the anchor, I think for guard might be tough. I didn't think it was too bad at tackle.
No, at tackle, I think it was fine. But
yeah.
I think you move inside, you start to worry about if it's going to be like maybe not necessarily unplayable, but like close to that is where you worry a little bit. Because that transition is just not always easy for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. And he's probably the one guy on this list that I am most confident. I think you could like legitimately play at tackle at times and be okay with it.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. That's kind of why I'm a little high. Like I have an early 3rd round grade on him because I just think you're getting at worst an elite utility offensive lineman. To where like maybe he doesn't ever like lock down one position. Like maybe you're constantly moving him around. Like he just plays wherever you have the biggest hole. And I think he can Sorry.
Oops.
But yeah, like
What kind of episode is this?
Wherever
big boy
you're kind of
stuff.
stuck, yeah. Like if you just don't have somebody at right tackle, maybe that year he's playing right tackle, and the next year is like, oh, our left guard just tore his ACL in August. He's gonna start at left guard. I think he's gonna be like that, and I think he can handle it because he's got a really high football IQ.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. I do have a take to throw out there. Should he just play center?
I wouldn't hate that.
Because the anchor thing is less of an issue at center than it is a guard.
I think
quickness. Yeah. I know he's taller a little bit.
That's my only concern there.
But the length is shorter too, like so it'd probably be better for him, even compared to like playing guard. I wonder, could he do the like tackle to center thing? Like maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I actually thought about this too. I was like, I think that was kind of one of the things I like about him. I think he is a guy that if you I think you could just kind of stick him.
If you're down bad somewhere, you're just like, just throw him out there. He'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, like absolutely. There's another guy that I kind of feel that way about too. That's a little further on the list. That's a little more talented. Yeah. But I just think like this that he is somebody that is gonna find a home somewhere in the NFL, and he'll be productive. He also recovers really well. That was kind of the other thing where
his limitations there.
Yeah, his limitations kind of get made up for because he recovers well, fights his ass off too. To get back to where he needs to be.
All right. Yeah, I think we're kind of in the same boat for him for the most part. I believe Dalton, you're the only one who doesn't have his number 7 listed.
I think so.
Okay, because Jake and I both have number 7. Listed.
Curious, you guys, where do you guys have him? Keelan Rutledge from Georgia Tech.
He was the one I was. Go ahead, Jake.
He's my 6.
Okay.
We're just going down the list.
I'm so upset because he was the last guy I was going to watch before I ran out of time. And I didn't get to watch him. And I was curious if you guys would end up talking about him at some point. Yeah. And the fact he's up here makes me really I'm really excited to talk about him though. Because to watch him after I hear what you guys have to say, because he is the last one I didn't get to.
Yeah. So. Where was he for you, Jake?
6.
6. Okay. So I'll just touch on a little bit and let you go then. But I love the stout frame of a guy like him, like 6'4", 320. I feel like that's like perfect like NFL guard size.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
And he's just got a nasty streak to him. Like this guy, you can tell like every snap he goes out there and says, I want to bury somebody under the field. Like
I already know I'm going to like this guy when I watch him.
That is his goal on every play. He's got violent hands.
Violent ham.
Yeah, violent ham. Violent hands. Incorporates his lower half really well. One of the notes I put was just effort. Like the effort is just so high on him, and it's every play. Perfect Georgia Tech offensive lineman, especially like he would have fit in really well at old Georgia Tech when they're still running the triple option. Even though he's a little big for it, might not have been able to pull as well. But because that's the thing, he is an average athlete. Pad level's not always great. Has trouble climbing to the second level. That's kind of why he's staying in that early 3rd round for me. But I think the ceiling might be a little limited, but he's just fun. Like he's a guy that some older NFL scout is going to be like, this is my
Bring me that white boy.
Yeah.
Bring me that white
wherever Tom Cable is coaching next year, that's who's drafting this guy.
Right. Before you go, Jake, real quick, I just want to throw this out there because I was curious what people think about him. Brandon Thorne, who, if any of you watching are into the NFL draft at all or just offensive line play at all, you should know that name of Trench Warfare. Very, very worth the watch and listen for him. He has him at interior offensive lineman 5 and compares him to someone who I think if he reminds me of this player as well, I'm really going to like him, Christian Mahogany. Out of Boston College years ago.
Yeah, I can see it.
if he reminds me of him, because I was a big Christian Mahogany fan. If he reminds me of him when I watch him, he will certainly be somewhere in my top 10 and will probably boot somebody out pretty quickly. But yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I've seen that comparison a few times for him. I had some of the same concerns as Dalton. I also noticed the upright pad level, which he does a little bit too often, and then he's just like he's not that athletic laterally, like with his footwork. It's just a little slow. But he's another guy where I don't think the ceiling is especially high, but I think his floor is good enough that I'm confident he'll be solid in the NFL. He just does a lot of things well. He plays extremely tough, like very physical. He's probably one of the more competitive players I've watched in this whole cycle. He's very like stout. He has a good base. He doesn't really have any problems with like bull rushes. He's got a good anchor. But he's also good against quicker pass rushers, which I think helps him since he plays guard and not tackle with his footwork being a little slow. But that was another thing I noticed. As a run blocker, I loved a lot of the things he does. He's very good. He's not super athletic, but when he does get to the second level, he's just plays with power and he finishes blocks really well. So I think he just has a good enough, like well-rounded skill set for him to at least succeed at some level in the NFL. I do have questions about how much like growing in terms of his game he has left to do, but I think he's got a good base to be a quality guard.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch him for sure. Wish I would have gotten to see him now that you see where you guys have him. So, but no, I think I'm the one who hasn't had their 6 named at this point. So, this is where center 1 comes off the board for me. Connor Lew out of Auburn. Where do you guys have him if you have him at all?
So he was my center 2, and I have him at 5. So
Okay.
I'm right there with you.
All right.
He's 5 for me also.
All right, cool. So that takes care of 6 and 5 for
us.
us.
We're in the same thought process with a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I think these guys are who they are, and that's totally fine. You know, but Lew is center 1 for me solely because I think he has the most potential out of the group. You could argue Jones as well, Dalton, especially with the added, reminder to me, especially of him being newer to the position for sure. But he, first of all, something you have to throw out there. I don't know about any of these other guys. I haven't checked, but I saw this pop up when I was looking up Connor Lew. Did wrestle in high school, immediate bonus points.
Yes.
Just to throw that there.
Didn't know that actually.
I don't even know if that necessarily is going to translate that much for him. I think it kind of does on the field, but like if you wrestled as a center, especially, I'm going to probably rank you slightly higher than I would have otherwise, with the assumption that you're just going to figure it out. Maybe that's Zach Frazier bias for me. I don't know, but I'm going to do it. No, but I think Lew has the right combination of like typical size for center, but better play strength than I think you would typically expect for someone of his size. Still growing, probably someone who honestly maybe should have gone back to school, considering he tore his ACL midway through the season. Not sure if he's going to be able to test and do a lot of that stuff, which may or may not hurt his draft stock. I'm not sure at this point. We'll have to kind of see what he looks like from medical's perspective when we get to the combine and stuff. But I do think, again, has the most potential in this class of center. I think that if he's healthy, even though I think he needs some time to develop, I think he could start for a team right away if they need him to. But I think he's a guy that probably a team that maybe somewhere in the 3rd round maybe doesn't love their center, or their center is kind of coming to the end of his career, would love to add him to the mix and get him up to speed to start, whether it's early on in his career or maybe in his 2nd season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he could be a guy that sits for a year. Maybe he's like your swing tackle, almost
swing tackle, or no, swing interior guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That guy that is your 6th offensive lineman.
Yes,
yeah. That's kind of more what I mean. Yeah. When I think of swing, I just kind of use it.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But yeah. I think he's just a guy because, he's a true junior. So he's going to be a guy that you can develop and not be worried about like, oh, he should start right away or we should get what we can out of him right away. You can develop him and he can do a lot for you because he's an elite athlete for the position. I mean, just really, really athletic.
Yes, he's an awesome athlete.
And his feel for the position's awesome. He's also just nasty and mean, and you love that. I think that's where that wrestler mentality comes in a little bit. And he finds ways to win reps. That was one of my biggest notes on him. Is this guy just finds ways to get the job done.
Fights already, and I think that's where the wrestling background kind of comes in. Honestly, is like finds ways to get his body in position to make the block and to get it done. And I want to let you talk about him obviously too, Jake. But I wanted to throw this out there because I thought this was the case. Will not turn 21 until right before the start of his rookie season.
Fantastic.
No 6th year here, Dalton. Don't worry about it.
So, like, honestly, that means he is like legitimately 5 years younger than or
some of the guys.
5 years younger than some of the other guys that we talked about tonight.
I mean, yeah, like he's at least going to be 3 years, if not 4, or maybe 5. So,
yeah, some we just literally don't know because
he's a true junior. This is not like a weird, like I don't know. It's whatever.
Like the guys where you Google their age and the only thing that comes up is Google AI makes something up that's completely wrong. And then you literally look everywhere and their age has been scrubbed from the internet. It's incredible how many guys you see their
people to know
their agents are putting in overtime.
Yeah, it'll just be like September. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. That's sick, dude. All right. Good for you, I guess. Happy birthday at the beginning of the season.
Dude, we see his recruiting. We can still see his 24/7 page of his recruiting timeline. Like, we can all do math.
At best, he's X years old. It's like, all right, well, all right. It's like, did he reclassify to? Nope, he did. Okay, so he's a normal like senior. Okay, well, he's at least Then you have like the Calvin Ridley's of the world, who was like 20 as a freshman or some bullshit. So like, he was like, I don't know what his deal was. Anyway,
they did the gray shirt era.
Yeah, dude, gray shirts. Cool. Oh my god. Anyway, Jake, what do you think about
The only real criticism I noted for him was I did have some worries about his play strength. I don't necessarily think it's bad. Like I don't think it's a huge weakness. It just is kind of something that eats at him like over the course of a rep sometimes. Like he doesn't really get blown off the ball. But that really was the only negative that I noted for him here. I mean, he's very athletic. And one thing I do like is he knows how to win early in plays. So that kind of negates my worries about his play strength because he's another guy that when he does get beat, he dies slowly. Like he doesn't just give up anything immediate.
Wrestling background.
No, it works wonders. Yeah, he knows how to win quick and early in the down, which just sets up the play well for him. I really like his eyes. I think he processes things really well, which obviously a good trait for a center. And I really liked his athleticism. So I think he was kind of the first guy out of that fringe of players that I all felt super similar about. I'm definitely a little higher on him. I had a early third on him, so I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I have him right. That's like I think top of the third round is where you start to think about it, especially when you factor in the ACL. Like maybe if he tests and he gets to go through the process, and also maybe he sneaks into the middle of the second round or something like that. But I have a feeling he's going to land closer to like the top of the third.
I have late second on him, but like he's definitely a guy that you take knowing that he's
realistically, it's probably it's good to assume that going into it at least, right? Where like if he surprises you, great, but you're not necessarily planning to start him right away if you don't have to. Bless you. Let's move to. I think it might be I think I'm the only one that has number 4 left, right?
Yeah, I just have my top 3.
Yeah, so all right, so I'm assuming this guy will be somewhere in the top 3 for you guys. Chase Basantis, Texas A&M guard.
Yeah, 3. He's 3 for me also.
All right, cool. So Let me just mark that down so that all of our number 3s are taken care of then, I believe, as well. Yeah, because Pregnant was not my number 3. Yeah, but Santos, man, he's so different from like all the other like just power guards in my opinion. Like not that he doesn't have any power to him or anything like that, but I think he's like a legit pass protector day one. He has the feet for it. I think he has solid hand placement. Blocks well to move up to the second level. He is definitely more of a zone type of player, I think, for me as well, as especially in the run game. But he's a little bit different from all these like power guards that we kind of talk about, especially like higher up this list, like the Pregnons and the Dunkers and stuff like that. He's just different, and I think that's part of why I have him ahead of some of those guys. It's like I like the floor as a pass protector. Especially for teams that just desperately need someone who is in a turnstile. Like if this guy, like, I don't know if they'll do it back to back. Not that they'd have to take him nearly as high, but him in Seattle to replace Bradford, for example, as the other guard next to Zabel on the other side of Zabel would be sick, because then they have 2 really solid pass protecting guards for maybe the quarterback that's affected most by that type of problem, like Sam Darnold is. But someone like he fits that mold of like, do you need someone who can just kind of keep your quarterback clean for the most part and do a good job in like the zone running game? He's just a really solid player overall. He, for me, ended up, I think, as, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he was my first like true like into the second round, like back into the second round type of player for me.
Yeah, that's exactly where I have him, late second as well. And like, yeah, he's not a power guy, but he plays with really good functional strength.
He's not a bad he's not bad in terms of play strength. It's unlike the other guards. It wasn't the first thing that popped out like the other guys had.
Yeah, but it's definitely, and I think because of the way he plays at pad level, he is a people mover. And it really does show. And also, like, yeah, obviously, like the pass protection is great because he played a lot of tackle as well. And like that really shows. I think he's another guy that like probably his best position's guard, but you can stick him wherever and he's gonna figure it out because he just gets after it. Probably not a tackle at the next level,
but I mean, he has the feet for it. I think it would just come down to other factors there, but
other thing, just like Lou, he is a true junior,
so certifiably that is a huge playing plus against children compared to his.
Yeah, he is the children.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. My main concerns are hand placement. His technique in general is a bit raw. Yeah. Feet are a little slow at times. It's hard to say like what he's gonna do, like how much he's gonna climb to the next level. But I do think he can. Yeah, I think he can pull. Like he's quick enough that he can pull and be a lead blocker for you, and he can move people. And I'm very curious to see what it looks like at the next level. Has the frame where I think he could easily put on 10 pounds of good weight at 6'5", 315 right now. Getting him up to like 325, I think he could be a beast. One of the guys I really like in this class.
What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I feel a lot of the same things. One of the only really weaknesses that I noticed was he kind of, with his hips, like opens him up too early sometimes. And it puts him out of position. And it happened when I noticed it happened a lot early in plays. Aside from that, I really don't have a lot that I don't like about him. I did think he struggled a little bit with bull rushes, or at least I noticed it a couple times. I don't think it's like a huge concern, but it was something I noticed when well, I'm just not going to say that phrase again, but with defenders going at the middle at him. Yeah, I did think he struggled a couple times there, but aside from those two things, I just love a lot of what he does. I mean, a lot of things he does just look so smooth. I definitely think he can pull. I think he's very quick in short areas, which is perfect, of course, for an inside offensive lineman. I really liked his hand placement. I don't think he gets very out of control. Like he keeps it very, I I don't want to say short, but just controlled. Like he's kind of conservative with it, but
Sure.
I think that stops him from getting himself out of position with his hands too often.
Yeah. Not as grabby either as some other guys have been. Yeah.
Yeah, he's much more controlled with it. He has good balance. I really liked a lot of things he did in pass protection, and yeah, like Dalton said, he moves people, especially in the run game. So yeah, I had a few small concerns about him, but neither of them are things that I think will really hamper him in the NFL. So that was why he was up higher at third for me. But yeah, I like a lot of what he does, especially in pass protection.
All right. So again, I think we're pretty similar all on him. All right. So we know the Jennings Dunker is 2 for Dalton. So Jake, I'm going to ask you first. Who do you have at number 2?
Okay, so this is someone who a lot of people have at tackle.
Yep. Okay.
I have Francis Mauigoa.
I also have Francis Mauigoa at 2.
Okay. So I did not watch him specifically because I was going to watch the tackle show.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And I get that because I think it's not – I don't think it's impossible he's going to still play tackle. But I do think after watching him, because I watched him as just I threw him in there. I'm like, I'll rank him as a tackle later. I'm going to rank him as an interior offensive lineman. I think ultimately I'm going to side on this with him as an interior player because I think his ceiling is much higher there. But I don't think that he's going to still be in my tackle rankings. And I doubt he's going to be outside the top 10 of them. But he's going to still be higher for me as a guard, I think.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think I've seen a lot of – oh, sorry, Dom.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say, I think I've seen probably more people have him as a tackle than a guard, at least from my view. So I definitely get people that have him at tackle. But yeah, from watching him myself, I think he'd be a bit better at guard.
Yeah, I feel like he might be this year's, just from what I've heard and seen, he might be kind of like a Membo type from last year. Now, I know you liked Membo more as a tackle last year.
There's a difference between them that I think is clear, and that's probably why I have Mauigoa as a guard, and I didn't really view Membo as a guard at all, and I'll get into that. But I think it's more not because they're the same type of player, but for the same concerns about the tackle issue. Is more like Will Campbell's issues with being a tackle, where it's more about the frame and the lack of length and things of that nature more so than just their ability as an athlete per se. But Jake and I will definitely get into it here. But you can go first here, Jake.
Yeah. He's very dense. But he's
listed 315. He's not 315.
No,
he's probably 330.
Yeah, he's I actually have seen him listed around 330.
I think so too. Yeah.
I forgot where, but yeah, he's very dense, stout, but he plays strong, and he's got decent movement. So I just think I had some concerns about his footwork in terms of it just being a little bit slow, and it's just I think it's just going to be hard for him at the NFL level, on an island with some really quick edge rushers. I just don't know if he's quick enough with his feet for that. But as a guard, I think he does a ton of things well. He's strong with his huge frame. No issues with power for me. He at the point of attack, there's some plays on the film where he's just demolishing players. Very strong lower body. He's another guy that I thought had pretty solid awareness, especially in pass protection in terms of just where he is.
Yeah.
Which I think, with a lot of his snaps coming at tackle, I think that's more noticeable at the tackle position. So I do want to see it more guard.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that I liked. He's got a good anchor. His hands, I think, could use a little work, but they're very strong. And I like that they're active. I think usually with guys on the bigger side with him, his hands can be a little bit slow sometimes, but that wasn't an issue that I noticed. So I'm really interested to see where he plays when he comes to the NFL. I do think he could play tackle. It's not something that I think he just can't do. I just think he would do himself a lot better at guard.
Yeah, So for me, ultimately, and I'll read my notes on him just to start off because I think it's pretty indicative of where I think, like how I think of him. Massive tackle / guard that thrives in situations where he can flex his power. As stout as it gets as a run blocker, especially for a tackle, but it translates to guard, I think, pretty well. Stuns defenders with his heavy hands. I think when he does get his hands on an edge rusher as a tackle, he can stun them and kind of stop their rush before they can really get to him and allow him to lose the way that he can lose, which is getting cornered, frankly. Like, I think the foot speed is fine, but it's going to be much more noticeably good at guard than it is tackle. He is just a bigger player ultimately too. Like, I think that that's part of the problem for him is, if you really wanted to play tackle in the NFL, I think he would probably have to drop down to like the 320 range. And that might be able to add enough foot speed to kind of keep the length issue from being as much of a problem. But it does show up sometimes. Like, he can sometimes just get kind of long-armed by edge rushers if they have enough length on him. So he really fits to me as like a mauling guard that has, much more pass protection skill than you'd typically see from that type of player because of the experience of tackle. And you hope that translates, and it should, because he's not going to be going up against guys that are obviously better cornering in the inside. So he should be able to handle that part of it, and he should be able to kind of stun those guys with their bull rush much better than a lot of tackles moving to guard normally would. He is 2 for me because I haven't seen him play guard, frankly. Like, I think, and also I really like the number 1 guy on our list. So that I think is probably the same person for all 3 of us, I assume. So he would be a guy that, like, he is to me, like, if you really need an offensive lineman, not necessarily a guard, but an offensive lineman, and you'll take whatever you can get, might be, depending on how I feel about the tackles, the first guy off the board. We'll see. Because of the flexibility there, but I do think he is firmly like at least a mid-first-ish level player to me is where I have him ranked ultimately. So I'm curious, Dalton, where you end up ranking him, especially if you, end up ranking him more as a guard than tackle, and if you don't, where do you rank him as a tackle? Because I think that's going to be the question for him.
Yeah, I'm very curious. He's probably going to be like the first guy
I probably would. That's a good play, because then you get to an idea of like, okay, if you like him at tackle, now do you like him more than the other tackles, right?
Yeah,
or
it'll probably be him and then the Utah guys.
I feel like I'm going to do the same thing, probably. A couple other guys I'm interested in, but yeah. All right, let's talk about, I'm going to say Vega Ione.
Ioane.
Yeah, that's
Ioane.
Is it Iwane?
Ioane. Yeah.
Ioane.
I struggled with both his first and last name. It was a tough one for me.
But first name, we're just going with Vega.
It's just shorter. I'm not saying I can't say it. I'm not saying that. You can't prove it, but that's what we're gonna go with. It'll be easier. No, he and honestly, let's let Dalton start here because we know why. If you watch this channel at all, we know he's a Penn State guy. The Penn State blanket.
It doesn't give it away.
Let's let the guard out of Penn State. Let's let Dalton talk about him first. Here.
All right. So, first thing, obviously, he's huge, 6'4", 330. I don't know. I think he's probably a little bigger than that. Built like a house. And that's kind of the thing. Like, my comp for him, another guy that I had graded similar with a late first round grade last year, Tyler Booker from Alabama. I think at the end of the day, you don't overthink this. He's huge. He's going to be really hard to get around because he's an elite pass protector on top of the fact that, like, he's huge. And he moves well enough to pull. I think he's a guy you hope, like, can do enough for you in the run game. But, like, you're like, yeah, he's almost never going to get beat in pass protection. The only concern is recognition of stunts. That's kind of the main pass protection concern if he picks that up. But again, that's coachable, I think.
He also played at Penn State.
So. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't exactly maximize the talent on.
They were also just tossing him at like extended weird tackle format. Like they do all sorts of weird shit with their offensive line. I maybe he just needs to get more reps to just playing guard. I don't know.
I think I feel like anyone that does draft scouting has known that James Franklin's been a problem at Penn State for a while. Like I'm sorry, like it's just clear. But yeah, in the run game, pad level could be a little bit better, and I'd like to see him finish blocks more because I think he has the power to. But that's also the kind of weird scheme that Penn State ran. They had all the personnel in the backfield and up front to run a power scheme, and they just kind of ran this weird zone scheme that made no sense.
Good old Kopenecki.
Yeah, I mean it. I don't want this to become a rant about how much Penn State's offense didn't make any sense at all, but yeah, I mean, he's my only guy with a first round grade because I think at the end of the day, he's gonna be a really solid starter.
Yeah.
I'll go next here, I guess. The first thing I'm gonna say is, and I hate to say this because I'm talking to two Raiders fans right now. Please, someone find a way to get this man on the Chargers. Someone, please,
absolutely,
get this man in front of Justin Herbert and just watch it work.
Yeah,
because the amount of times where I would watch him, and I watched like 3 full games with him because I wanted to make sure I had a full scouting report on him if I could, because I wanted to prioritize him. The amount of times where pass rushers just died in his arms, essentially.
Yeah,
just hit a wall and died there and did nothing. Ohio State, Oregon, didn't matter. Guys were getting into it and just it's over. The play was over very quickly. And I'm not saying he's going to be able to be quite that good at the next level because no one really ever is typically, but he is certainly a lockdown pass protector as much as one can be at the college level. And I think the run game stuff, I agree, Dalton. I'd like to see him finish those plays more, but also I feel like he kind of like that scheme is just weird. Like you said, I think if you get him in a power scheme, which with John, I know that with Harbaugh, he likes to do that. Now, I heard recently, and by recently I mean like during the show, that unless he gets the head coach offer he wants, Mike McDaniel's going to be coaching the Chargers offense this year coming up, which is fascinating. But he does all sorts of stuff in the run game, so it could be any number of things. But just you're keeping the Chargers thing going.
I can't hold. That's a weird fit. I think just real quick on this, because this is the first time I've heard this.
Yeah.
I feel like McDaniel's a guy that Jim Harbaugh would love. Mike McDaniel, just be fascinated by him and what he wants to do. But I think if you put Mike McDaniel in a room with Jim Harbaugh, he's gonna be like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
Here's the thing. I actually love it because I think that McDaniel, where he really thrives, is in the run game.
Yeah.
And I think that his passing game was like he did it the way he did it because of who his quarterback was. Yeah. I have no idea what he might do in passing game if he has a quarterback that isn't the worst thrower of the football of all time. Not the worst thrower, not the worst. All right, I cover the Dolphins. I don't want to be too mean, but he didn't have the talent as a thrower to really force the issue outside of very schemed up things, right? I wonder what he would look like as a play caller with no limitations literally at all put on him.
Yeah.
Because what can't you do with the running game that they could have with Hampton and those guys and Justin Herbert throwing the football? So I was curious. But in general, going back to the guy we're talking about here, he just, to me, if you're looking for a first round guard, this is as good as you're usually going to get. Right? You don't get a lot of guys that are this clean, especially in pass protection, as a guard, that you can stick in there and be good enough in the run game, you think, at least from what you've seen from him. Maybe he can get even better, obviously. It's just an easy sell. There's a really high hit rate on guards because if there's one good enough to be getting first-round consideration, that dude probably fucking rocks. And that's, in this class especially, I don't know how high he could go, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's why I said, who knows if the Chargers would be even able to get him. But, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing with guards in general. In coming out, the true guards are really, really good. But most of the guys, a lot of the guys we talked about tonight, are probably not going to be in the league that long because a lot of the future NFL guards were tackles in college.
Yeah.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's foot speed. A lot of the guys that are playing guard in college were tackles in high school and had to get moved to guard because of the speed. So now at the next level, they just get kind of washed out, and a lot of your slower tackles from college get moved inside.
It happens a lot. It's kind of like the whole like played receiver in high school had to move to corner because they can't catch the damn ball. Maybe wasn't fast enough to be a corner, so then they're a safety. It's a whole thing, right? It's just kind of how it plays out. But I do think he's one of the true like few like first round guards, like actual first round guards. So, but Jake, any more notes you want to throw on him now that we've talked about him for a while?
Yeah, I think you guys covered him pretty well. I had a mid first round grade on him.
Yeah.
So I was, pretty high as everyone else is.
Am I the lowest of the three of us on him?
You might, but like you have to remember too, like I have just a first listed for him because I think he should be a first round pick. I didn't have anything specified beyond that because especially in this class, I don't know how many guys are going to meet that category.
Yeah, he'll go top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I simply don't know. Because like right now, I mean, if you count Maui Noah because I have him in my list today. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have like 7, and we're almost done with offense.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is one of the only players that like I've actually felt like excited about, like when watching.
Like, yeah, this dude fucking rocks.
Like first round excited.
Pass rushers die.
No, they really do. I mean, the only things that like I had as concerns for him were I thought he was just kind of an average like athlete, and
he's 330 pounds. So you're like, hell yeah, it's good that you're.
And even then, I still like. I don't even think he's a bad athlete. I just think
he's just not a phenomenal one.
Like it's not a plus. And I think in pass protection that kind of hurts him a little bit. But I mean, everything else, like, I mean, he's just super powerful, especially with his hands. I mean, his hands just like send jolts through defenders.
Yeah, he just blocks guys.
Yeah, he just does pretty much everything pretty well. So he's one of the few guys in this class that I watched and just I kind of know that he's gonna be good.
He just stands out on an offensive line that isn't bad, in my opinion, at Penn State overall. Like I think they have some guys who can play, and he still stands out as a guy. It's just like, man, when guys run at him, they just stop moving. Like the world stops around him when people run into him. And that's just something you don't see a whole lot. I think, Grant, you could take it or leave it because it's PFF and some people, whatever. I think they had him logged with like 4 pressures this year allowed. Not like I'm not saying 14. I said 4 pressures and no sacks. That's not normal, folks. Just throwing that out there. Not against Big Ten teams primarily. You're playing against.
Yeah,
that's not normal, man.
Yeah.
So like. I mean, he wasn't playing nobody. I promise you that much.
4 pressures.
Pressures. Yeah. 0 quarterback hits. I'm pretty sure they had maybe 4 hurries or 5 hurries. It was insane. Yeah.
Now part of that is
just like a 1 rep every single snap.
Yeah.
Now part of that is Penn State just didn't throw the ball. For.
Yeah, but if you factor in pass blocking reps, he still has if you're looking at on a per rep basis, he's still up there in efficiency. It's nuts. Yeah, So, but yeah, you didn't want to throw the ball a lot with Grunk.
I mean, even with Aller,
they don't want to throw the
little boys. They brought in a wide receiver.
Was better. No, he's better. But didn't Grunkemeyer go to Virginia Tech with Franklin?
Yeah, I think he did go to. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh.
But no, even when they had Aller throwing the ball to
Trevor Penna.
Well, no, even when he was throwing the ball to Parker Washington and DeAndre Lambert-Smith and what's his name, Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
They still weren't throwing the ball that much.
No, they were like, we don't want to do that. Every time we do, there's a chance something bad might happen.
Yeah.
Something historically bad might happen if we do that.
Can't
wait for Drew Aller to be QB4 because there's no quarterbacks in the class. It's going to be fun.
He's the next. I mean, I can't wait to talk about quarterbacks because
that'll be soon.
He is one of 2 guys that I don't know. The idea of them is great, but then you watch them play, and you're like, What's wrong? Why isn't it working?
Why is this big white boy so bad at everything? Why is he bad at all of it? No, I think it was Todd McShay who had like this huge, like, not like mental breakdown. It's very, very like too much, too dramatic to say as mental breakdown, but like very much like an internal struggle with like, man, you watch Drew Aller, he looks like he should be good, and he just isn't good, and he just couldn't like figure it out.
He should be Big Ben,
right? Not Big Ben.
He should be Ben.
Yeah. He unfortunately the closest he was ever going to be
like,
to Big Ben is if he does some bad stuff somewhere. That's all I'm going to say.
That's
the closest he's ever going to be. And don't do Drew. Don't do it. Okay, you don't want to be compared to Big Ben in that way, and you're certainly not going to get compared to him as a player. So just leave it alone.
Yeah, and also he's definitely not like, to be clear, like if anything, he's almost too much not like that off the field. He's very much
very
homebody.
nice young man who can't play football. Unfortunately,
and like, I don't know if nobody went to his birthday. He's definitely like did anybody go to his birthday party? You guys
I've seen
Draft
it.
Day?
Yeah, don't worry, I've watched it.
Nobody went to his birthday party.
You don't understand, Coach. No one went to his birthday party. He took the $100 or whatever the hell it was in the playbook. I don't know. Anyway, honestly, my biggest takeaway from Draft Day is R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. That's my biggest takeaway from Draft Day. That's my biggest take on Draft Day. Anyway, we will be back next week to do offensive tackles, and then we'll mercifully get quarterbacks taken care of right after that. I thought about honestly sandwiching the offensive linemen with the quarterbacks just because I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm like, I want to put it off another week. Yeah. I don't want to do it. I simply am not interested because I'm going to watch one guy that I'm like, okay, I know he's good. Should be. And then everyone else I don't
do a top 10, Shane?
Of course I am. We have to do it because you know what? So many people are gonna cop out and do like top 5s or top 8s.
Well, yeah, top 5 would be hard.
I'm finding 10 dudes to watch. I'm gonna have a 7th round grade on someone.
I think if 10. I watch 10 guys, there might be UDFA grades in my top 10.
Well, hey, guess what? We're gonna find out. So, because it's funnier that way. Well, it's okay. So right now, I'm not going to say any of the names. I'm just going to do a quick check here. So if we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, 10. Hey, there's 10 guys we can watch. I don't know if there's 10 guys I want to watch.
Oh God, I just saw PFF's number 4, and I want to throw up.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, it gets way worse.
I already know who I'm going to have as QB2 just because it'd be funny.
Also, PFF is just wrong on here. I mean, where they have some guys more than others.
They're just wrong. So
also, there's a running back on PFF's quarterback list.
Which one?
I mean, Castellanos is like legitimately an NFL running back.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like honestly, like I think he should get drafted. I don't know what you do with him.
Something.
But yeah, something.
You don't want to put a Maverick McIver in your top 10. Blake shaping up. Tyler Van Dyke at a crisp 25 years old. Who the hell is Chase Mason? Get out of here.
Anyway. It sounds like Madden franchise when you're in like 2029 and it's just making up random draft prospects.
When they do that.
Zach Calzada.
That's the name Chase Mason sounds like.
Yeah, Zach Calzada, Kentucky fame, of course. Is Sawyer Robertson even in this class? Did he get like an extra year or something? I thought he did. Or am I making that up?
Or he escaped the NFL for another year.
I wonder. I feel like maybe I'm making that up, but I feel like I heard that.
Did we figure out what's happening to Chambliss yet? Are they going to make him go to the NFL?
So apparently he is suing for his eligibility still, and I really wish he would just stop. for a lot of reasons, but mostly because like I at least might be able to get excited about him, and I don't want to have to not watch him for this.
It is crazy. We're going to talk about several guys in that class that are literally being dragged, kicking and screaming.
They
Yeah,
literally
like,
don't
this
want to
is-
go pro.
Because
This is
Aller
so much
sued
of a
too, I think,
better-
He sued.
or appealed.
Oh,
Made
appealed.
it
Well, he's an idiot.
I just don't get that. Like next year's class is going to be so much more stacked. Like just go to the league.
It literally
Even
has
if
to
the
be.
Jets take you, like just go.
Well,
Um,
I mean, the problem is these guys know that they suck, and like they know they're not going to make any money in the league.
this is true.
But they'll
Trent
get
Chambliss
$5 million.
should want to come out though. Why is he not coming out? I don't understand.
Who,
He
Chambliss?
would at
Yeah.
least get the good like guaranteed top of the draft rookie bundle.
Well,
like
Ole Miss might win a national championship
I
next
guess
year,
there's that.
and also like being the guy at an SEC school for another year.
It is
a
pretty
lot
cool.
of fun, and he actually could legitimately develop.
Yeah, he could.
Like
I just feel like, dude, you. Also, by the way, right now, Mel Kiper Jr. has Diego Pavia 7th on his quarterback list.
oh
So that's where we're at right now, folks.
the
The 5'7"
God.
Diego Pavia.
Mel Kiper probably should have been put in a home years ago.
Well, that's a different conversation. But honestly, at this point, I hope that I get Cole Payton tape, and I think he's awesome. That's my best hope at this point.
Yeah,
Like, and that's what we're doing.
but like, what's the point of even watching the tape?
Fine. Would you rather watch his tape, or would you rather watch Garrett Nussmeier's tape?
Oh, I'm not watching Gary Nussmeier's tape.
You've watched enough of him. Yeah, you're good.
I've watched enough of him, one, last year, and two, watching receivers. Yeah, I don't need to see any more.
Yeah, I already know who my QB2 is going to be just because I will love to say his name a bunch of times. Ethan Kaliakmanis.
He probably is going to be. He should be higher.
I'll be surprised if he's not in my top 10 because I know who that is and I watched him play already a little bit. So that's the bar we're talking about, folks, and you'll get to find that out in 2 weeks. Luckily, you won't have to watch it a week from now. I will say I'm very curious, by the way. Shout out to the NFL Stock Exchange guys over with Trevor and Connor. They're doing their quarterback episode tomorrow, apparently, and I am fascinated by what the hell they even do. Like, are they going to do top 5s, top 8s? I hope they do top 15s. That'd be hilarious. Maybe they'll lean into the bit too. I don't know. But I'm curious what they have to say about
Top
it.
15, like you might get
top 15 sounds
Might
like
get Pavia
genuinely
in there.
painful.
Pavia is like a read option quarterback only. Is 15.
Yeah, I mean, future. I mean, there is going to be he is going to have a statue built of him in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah.
Like,
Doug Flutie 2.0.
let's be honest.
You're open for Doug Flutie 2.0. But somehow
Oh,
not
who was
as
the
good
other?
because Flutie actually played in the NFL.
Yeah, and also less likable.
Yes, very much less
Yeah.
likable.
There was another like Ole Miss QB who went to the CFL and was like tearing it up, but I forgot.
Matt Corral?
No,
Right.
it was
Was it Swag?
Oh, yeah. Swaggy.
yeah.
Swag Kelly.
I don't
Swag
know
man?
why I don't know why I'm forgetting his name.
Swag Kelly. Oh, my God. What a time that was.
Remember like that 30 seconds that we thought that was an NFL quarterback?
Yeah, with the Broncos, right?
Oh,
Wasn't
Chad
it?
Kelly. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Swag Kelly.
Yeah.
Jake's like, who the fuck is Swag Kelly?
No, I do. I was trying to think of his first name.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember just like I saw one thing on like Twitter, and it was just him throwing like 6 touchdowns in like a CFL
Nice.
game, and I was like, okay,
He feels like a dude who would do
Good
that
for
for
him.
sure.
Yeah.
I'll always remember him for the stupidest touchdown ever scored on Alabama of all time on that one Alabama
Yeah.
Ole Miss game. But yeah, anyway, that'll do it for us this week. We'll save this conversation for later. It'll be a lot of fun for tackles next week. I think it should be a decent tackle class from what I've heard. I think a lot of people had it a little bit more rated highly to start the year, and then it kind of took a nosedive. So we'll see if we can find some maybe hidden gems here in our top 10s next week. But we'll talk to you guys and see you guys